I need to remember that when people offer me joints before I interview them for a podcast, I can say no. I can say no. Why? Because every time without fail that I've done it, I've forgotten to film an intro or I've fucked it up. And today I fucked it up. And the people that I interviewed deserve a better intro than that. So here I am. I found a great location. I got invited to come to the lab, which is Slightly Stoopid's music studio. It is where they make all their albums, is where they rehearse for all their festivals and their live concerts. And I got to sit down with some amazing record producers, sound mixing masters. Their names are James Wisner and George Spitz. George Spitz is a lyricist. He's a rapper, an amazing song mixer and writer. James Wisner has worked for some pretty amazing people. He's a Grammy Award winning and nominated record engineer, sound mixer. He's worked for acts like Usher, Amy Winehouse. He's on tour with Flo Rida and obviously Slightly Stoopid. And we learned everything about song, record mixing, and writing today. I learned what makes a good sound. I learned how you kind of make a sound. This is all above my head, so I got to learn a thing or two, got a little tour of their studio, and I'm just super grateful. So shout out to the Slightly Stoopid people and the crew for allowing me this opportunity. And shout out to James and George Spitz. I'm definitely going to have them again. And it was just an all-around good time. So I hope you'll enjoy this conversation. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.
So this is just like the rehearsal space that I put together for them when they took over this side of the warehouse. And here's just all the gear that we use to capture lots of all the preamps basically to plug the mics into.
I just wanna JK, I'm not gonna do it.
Don't touch all the knobs.
Yeah, I got the juice like a snow cone. Ice in my veins and a cold flow. I'm getting cash overseas by the boatload. You wanna ride my wave? That's a no-go. Shake it, shake it. Senoritas going loco. Shake it, shake it. Make it bounce like a pogo. All my haters see rojo.
When we were going through customs coming back, or no, getting in, there was a couple and they got pulled to the side with their shit. And
what did they have?
Oh, they were flipping out. He's like, it's just a pack of cigarettes. But we got stopped for our Pelican cases because we had all of our camera equipment.
And they're like, how much money?
And how much did they charge you?
Nothing.
Really?
Yeah, well, because we packed it so well, they were like, what's in here? And we're just like, do you get charged for, I know there's like.
Sometimes it depends who you get. Not sure. I had a Pelican case and that had a mic stand in it, and they pulled out some old mic line testing box that's like this little big, and then looked it up online and charged me for it. And the guy next to me, they charged for his iPad. He had like an iPad.
Like the tax or whatever?
Just like a tax, yeah. And now I'm looking for the picture to see if I still have it. That same trip when I came through. No, just a tax based on its
value.
Brand new value, and I've had the thing for 10 years. Like it's used, it's worth $50, and they charge me.
Like, take it, dude.
Yeah, I don't want it. Can I throw it away?
And then there was a couple next to me. They were from New York, and they opened up their bag, and they had a fucking like an ounce of weed, and the guy just dumped it out on the table, and I was just like, oh. And they were like, "What? You can't bring that here? We didn't know that." And I was just like,
"What do you mean?"
Like you don't know. That's epic.
We're at the lab, Slightly Stoopid's lab.
Back at the lab.
And we're gonna learn. Me back up? What?
No, I said we're back at the lab. Sorry.
We're back at the lab.
I love it.
We're back at the lab. Let me do that one more time. We're in the studio with fucking my God.
Oh my God.
You're nervous on my behalf. It's totally cool. This happens every now and then. We're back at the lab. Today, we're gonna be learning all about sounds and music. I've got a legendary record producer, sound engineer, mixer in the studio with us, James Wisner. And on the side, we got the Peanut Gallery, George Spitz.
Yes.
So you foster like an in-studio vibe, but you're also on the road with Slightly Stoopid and have been on the road with them for over 20 years, am I right?
17 years, maybe 17 and a half years.
Wow.
Something like that.
And so you have a music industry background. You went to school for music. How did you get in with the Stoopid guys?
I I met them through a relationship that I was working at a studio in Miami called Circle House, and it was owned by Inner Circle, the reggae band. And Inner Circle and Slightly Stoopid did some collaborations together with music in the studio and then also with touring. So we kind of became intertwined that way.
How did you like inject yourself into the mix?
No, it started out where we, Inner Circle, went out on tour with Slightly Stoopid, and they were opening up for Slightly Stoopid on like a Northeast tour, like a club date tour. And I think the guys from Slightly Stoopid would just come out and watch the show and would stand kind of around front of house and watch me mix the show for Inner Circle.
So,
and I think that was like our first kind of interaction together.
So you've always kind of had a knack for mixing, and specifically live mixing, it sounds like?
Live came secondary to studio stuff, actually. So that was just a byproduct of working at the studio with Inner Circle. And mixing in itself kind of, they are the same live in the studio, but they're also very different, but they kind of, on its base principles, I think, revolve around the same ideas, which were learned and taught. Like, you know, it's like a muscle. Your ear is a muscle, so the more you use it, the more you train it. You know, the more refined its acuity gets to hearing more details that you might not hear.
For sure.
If you're not known, if your ear's not trained to listen.
For sure.
To it, yeah.
And you grew up playing drums.
I started as a drummer, yes.
Okay, so you definitely have a good ear for a beat.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of mixing engineers I meet are drummers also. So it's a weird thing that a lot of good sound engineers are
like
also
that.
drummers. I don't know.
I did not know that. That's crazy. So at what point did you realize that, like, this is what you do and this is what you're really good at? Because if you've been with a band like Slightly for as long as you have and have become the trusted source for being on the road, and I've watched you mix live, like, you're in your element. Where, like, did you know that instantly? Was that something that, like, after 5 years you're like, well, shit, this is something that maybe I should stick with for the rest of my life?
It took me a while to probably look at it and say, wow, I'm really, really good at this, or this is my skill set that I'm best at. Because it's always just kind of been a joy and a passion, you know. And whether you know something really well or not, when you're passionate about it, you kind of just wing it until you figure it out, I think.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're always learning. I'm always learning new things. I don't think you ever say, like, I know everything about sound, especially with live, because any element, atmospherical or, you know, electric, you know, something can intervene in what is going great and throw a windy day. You know, there's always something to affect the job that you're doing, and you just have to work around that and make it happen.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because that literally just is going to lead into my next question. So for a festival like Slightly Stoopid's Closer to the Sun, there were 3 different sets that they did. They did one on the main stage, which was, you know, I don't know how big, in between 2 hotels, and then they had a beach stage the next day, and then the other day was indoor. Do you have to think ahead of time about, like, what equipment you need? Is it something that you plan out?
Which one do you think is my favorite stage to perform at as the sound engineer?
We were talking about this, and I actually don't know. Like, I would think that anything indoor might be better for sound, but I have a feeling you're the main stage, right? Because it's bigger, so you have more equipment.
As a sound engineer, I'll give you the reasons why, and it's different for the fan's perspective. But the main stage is symmetrically centered to where my listening perspective, I'm listening between pretty much a centered space. Granted, there's a tunnel of hotel rooms and it creates echo and everything, and there are physical, like, elements to deal with there. It's still pretty open. The sound can kind of escape and go away, you know. The beach stage is cool, but where you mix from, where the gear hangs out, there's no mixing perspective. The speakers are kind of facing this way, and I'm up here on the beach, and I got to run down to the water and listen and then run back. And it's still cool. It's a good experience, but it's not necessarily sonically the most ideal.
Interesting.
And then the indoor show is like the least ideal.
Yeah, that venue, that
Because
little thing specifically.
that space is just a square, a big square with not much sound treatment, and it gets echoey and boomy, and people are talking, and it's so challenge-wise and work-wise, I got to work harder for the inside one, a little bit less harder for the beach one, and then the big stages, everything is just bam, exactly how I want,
Yeah.
perfect. I don't got to move. I can stand there the whole time. And
Do you know what equipment you need before you go for the most part?
Yeah, I have the same console that I've been using now for like.
Tell me about the console. I know nothing about this stuff. This is why I'm probably so goddamn nervous, because this is like
No, it's cool.
way out of my comfort zone. But what is...
So the console I use for mixing front of house for Slightly Stoopid is the Avid S6L, which is the newer version of kind of one of the first major digital consoles was the Avid Profile. And I just always liked the Avid S6L compared to the other competitors just for its functionality for me doing this type of music where I'm hands-on in real time, sending delays, sending reverbs, pressing buttons, and the other consoles that a lot of other people use that are great for other things, they just don't allow me to have as much mobility and freedom and control as the Avid S6L.
Oh, okay. So you travel with that.
We don't necessarily take the same one with us, but everywhere we go, we source one so it's there waiting for us.
Oh, okay. And then the venue has everything else. So it's pretty much just a mechanism for controlling everything else?
It's the mixing of all the elements on stage, and then whether the venue or whoever's producing the event, they bring in all the other stuff.
I got it. I don't know why I was under the impression that maybe the speakers got brought in too, but that seems...
On our summer tour, we'll normally carry our own speakers, but for a festival or close to the sun, we're not taking speakers to Mexico with us. We find them there.
I got it.
But they have the good quality, they have quality vendors that we can source good stuff from. And
have you ever had to deal with a particularly shitty setup and find a new way to kind of make it work?
Yeah,
all the
of course,
time?
all the time.
I as I was asking, I was like, oh my God, knowing how many shows you've done, probably all the time.
And sometimes you'd be surprised. It'll be ones with better production, and it looks like it'll be great, and then it turns out something's wrong. There's a cable. There's some, with the snake. There's something that you're chasing down, and it's equipment that doesn't necessarily get abused, but gets used very often. So it could have worked fine a second ago, and right now it's broken.
Oh shit.
And you need to just think to not chase yourself in too big of a tail, but start and figure out, okay, it was just working. What could have possibly gone wrong?
Holy shit. Have you ever had a set go way south and you've been behind, or something happened that was a freak accident? How'd you get around it?
The worst, most catastrophic failure I've had was actually recently with that S6L console, and it was a year or two ago on tour, and it was the encore, and there was something wrong with, there's a digital clock inside the console that keeps everything locked in digital audio world, right? So just imagine a master clock that keeps everything lined up. And for some reason, this one particular day, first time ever and never since, it started clicking and popping and making all these noises that perpetually got louder and more intense as time, so it started out like a click, and then another click, and then click, click, and then click, 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 and then 2 or 3 minutes later, the thing was just going, and I basically had to restart the console, but it was so far at the end of the set that I just had to kind of turn it down. And for the last 2 songs, the stage, volume was, the side fills, the noise coming off the stage was the only sound we heard. And,
oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
At that point. Do
you freak out when that stuff happens, or do you
No, because there's nothing to freak out about.
Yeah. Do you rehearse at this point, or
rehearse for?
Do you rehearse? You're kind of on
no,
or is
but
it just
it just
you
makes
get
you
into
realize if this ever happens again, we can maybe have this backup, and you can work around it.
Yeah,
be more prepared. But it was the first time ever something ever like that had happened. So.
That's crazy. I imagine you get into like, it's probably gotten to a point where you're in a flow state with doing all of this. You know, I don't know.
The mixing point is definitely like, it's weird. Like the show will start, and you're assessing all the environmental things. Am I under a tent? Am I, sometimes a front of house, there's a roof over it. That's going to affect the way it sounds, or so it'll take maybe a song or two to say, okay, we're good. Everything is good, and then you kind of zone. I'll notice everything zones out, and then I'm just mixing and listening to the music and watching, and people talk to me, and I'm like, I ignore them. Or kick them out if they're talking, That's one of my big pet peeves. It's like I'm working and there'll be someone standing next to you, usually I
feel like that was us.
And they're
closer
having
to the sun.
There'll be two people having a conversation, and I'm sitting here trying to critically listen to this thing for 10,000 people or however many people, and there's two human beings standing within 6 feet of me having a conversation, and I'm just like,
I'm trying to listen here.
I give people one song, and I'll tell them, I was like, you have a one song limit or maximum, and you've expired.
Shut the fuck up.
So
you were great with us, though. I feel like we were, with the rain and the wind and the beach. I'm sure that, I know which set you hate the most. It's got to be that beach set.
No, I don't. I personally love it. I mean, where else can you sit in your bathing suit and work and, step into the water?
There aren't a whole lot of places.
I tried to convince them to float the console out in the water, but they won't do it.
I wonder why.
One of the first years we did it there, we were using the older version of that console, and I had them put it out on where those VIP, that little bridge that does go out into the water, and there's like the tiki hut or whatever you call those cabanas.
Or whatever, yeah.
So I put it out. We had the console out there, and there was like a storm, and the tide started coming up, and the water was going. It was like going across my feet, basically with the console. And I don't think that console.
Well, now I know why they don't do it anymore.
Let's just say salt air and digital electronics don't go good together.
No, not at all. It just completely ruins it.
Yeah.
So if I was somebody that was interested in making music and I wouldn't or don't know where to start, like what kind of equipment or software or product would you recommend somebody start to like play around with sound mixing and record music making?
You keep looking at George.
Well, because I was going to ask him a second question. I'm sorry.
My first, no, because we're going to have two completely different answers. Or I have two different answers.
I want to hear him. I want to hear him.
Oh, my first thought.
Energy.
So look, my first thought to what you're saying is someone that wants to start doing music would be to get a degree in something where you could like have a real job and make money, and then on the side figure out what time you have to mess around with music. Because it's not necessarily as glamorous as it's portrayed on, when you look at your social media devices and you think, oh, I could do that, or because you have people that 20, 30 years have been working on music and, they don't get the breaks that someone that you might think, why are they doing so good? I don't even like their music or understand their music, so it's not, there's no formula to say, this is the thing that's going to work.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of more work than just sitting and making the music. Music to me today is just a marketing tool to get people to come to your show and to buy your T-shirt. And that's unfortunately what it is today. It's not a product. It's not the product that you used to sell anymore.
There's a different
commodity.
Vessel. It's just a vessel now.
It's a vessel.
It used to be CDs, and now it's just a.
But if you want to mess around on the weekends, when you're making at home and you want to make some music, I mean, there's tons of interfaces and little things that you can hook up to a laptop and plug in a microphone and start working.
So if I wanted to start playing around with making sounds, what would you get?
What would you get, George?
Honestly, something that's
a little UA thing.
Easy to get your head around.
A little Apollo.
I think the important thing is like being able to learn whatever it is well enough to get a
Wait.
result.
Come in the shot.
I just realized I didn't want to.
No. Come in the shot. Here. I'm gonna give you my mic. You sit, and I'll ask you these questions. Yeah.
No, you need to sit. You want to sit here?
There's no method to this madness.
There's a stool. There's a
I've
stool.
infiltrated James's.
Yeah.
No, you.
I feel bad.
It's not infiltration when you're invited.
We'll have these moments in the studio.
George Spitz. What are you buying at the store? I mean, it just depends what your budget is.
Store.
No, we're talking about.
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah.
It depends what your budget is. You don't need much to like make music, right? I mean,
I think it's the result.
What does it sound like?
I think the result, like if you're, whatever you can get to produce a result that you're excited to share with people, or even just hear back yourself and enjoy it for yourself, or whatever it is that you're trying. I think the goal is to remember, like, okay, I'm trying to accomplish this and have something to show people or to enjoy myself. So it could be something you buy. There's a lot. If we're talking about buying something, you can. I don't think there's anything that's like, oh, I would never use that. Like, especially digitally, like there's so much that you can do with gear that it used to cost thousands of dollars to accomplish that. What you can do with $100 piece of gear that you can buy at Best Buy.
Yeah, you could buy
even,
that mic that is the interface also. You know, you can buy a mic for a
Exactly.
couple $100 that plugs directly into your computer and you're making music. You know.
write raps. You spit rhyme. Mm-hmm. What did you start with beat wise? Because I imagine copyright is a little bit of an issue for both of you at some point, right? Like, you can't, if you're gonna make something, you might want to start off with a generic beat or something that
That's
obviously isn't
interesting.
from something else, because then you'd have that.
From a hip hop perspective, it's always like in the business realm or in the industry, like outside of the creative process, that's always some sort of issue, especially because there's a lot of sampling that goes on as well. But I would say not to worry about copyright stuff, because I started off, like the first thing I ever made outside of having been in bands and done stuff before I even knew what I was doing technically, the first things I started making, I got a 002 mixer, and I had a Mac laptop I was lucky to have from school.
Oh, not the mixer, the rack.
Right. And the first things I was making, I had been playing guitar and bass for a while, so I had my way around being able to make my own sounds. But I was a fan of sampling stuff because I listened to a lot of hip hop and I was raised on a lot of different styles of music that, you know, either whether you listen to hip hop or just have a good or a palette or a lot of influences around, whether you're making hip hop or not, there's stuff that you can always be, you know. I just love sampling. I don't know. I loved sampling, and
You shouldn't worry about copyrights. Just to be
Right.
creative. Like just be creative, and then if you're doing something enough where people that you're taking that copyright from are coming after you, then you're doing something good.
Yeah.
And you know,
that's a good problem. If somebody's angry that you're
getting
using this
enough
stuff, it's because you're probably
attention.
making enough noise
exactly.
for them to be angry about it. And then you can just
But lots of times we'll take ideas and like you just what they call interpolations. Like you can do your own versions of them, or you know you could replay it exactly, and then it's a lot cheaper than a copyright, and it's like basically the same. You know, we can replay music or a part if there's something, or you could just
make it sound
take the inspiration from it and say, oh look how that has that relationship, and let's do it like this. And
I like how you guys think.
just
I feel
different.
like that's the only way you can as a creative. Otherwise, it would get pretty daunting to
Right.
be like, fuck,
In the
I'm never going to be able to like move out of this box.
if you think that way while creating as an artist myself, or even producing records with people, if I was to think about all that stuff while making it, which sometimes you get into that thought or whatever, but you have to like block that out, because it's like, right now we're trying to do something that should not be affected by any factor outside of like just what we're enjoying creating at the, you know. And if your only means of getting sound is sampling something and putting some drums on it or whatever that is, like
putting a ton of plugins on it.
and I know
like
a lot
whatever.
of people, yeah. James is a big fan of plugins specifically.
No, we have a little inside joke going. We come from like
going for the world record.
no, we just
I just come from a newer school of
How much newer?
I don't know.
He's not that much younger than me though.
I was
Right. I was gonna say I kind of like indulge in digital a lot, and I love. So there's a lot of stuff basically. To I guess break it down as lame
Do you
as
understand
I
what
can
plugins
get.
are?
No,
Like
I need you
okay.
to-
So there's like
Well, go back to the beginning, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
with engineering, right, there's basic pieces of gear like compressors, EQs, things that change the sound, things
Okay,
that can
yeah, yeah,
control
yeah.
the sound,
For sure.
okay? And for the most part, before digital recording was introduced, there was very limited. You had compressors, limiters, EQs, like very basic things. You would use them on all the channels and maybe use one or two EQs. And then back in the day, imagine like an old telephone operator, right?
Oh,
like
yeah,
I
yeah.
want to take this kick drum that's here and I want to use this EQ, so I'm going to patch a cable over here and then I'm going to patch another cable over here. And then you have this thing that eventually will look like that doesn't even exist in modern studios anymore, called a patch bay, that basically is all the ins and out points of all the gear, right?
All of it,
All the
yeah.
gear, when you see racks of gear in studios, you know, and not saying not modern studios don't have them, nice ones do, but a lot of projects, this is a smaller like room where we don't need it because we just have less gear in there.
And the
But-
reason so is because nowadays, so getting to the digital side of things, there's especially at this point, the quality you can get even, but there's all these recreations now. So all this stuff that used to be only available in analog form, or you'd have to spend so much money to get, or you only have a certain limited amount of these pieces of gear around. Now you can have infinite digital versions of those
Yeah, there's digital
EQs,
versions of
compressors,
gear
preamps.
Yeah, you
of
don't
it,
need all of
That's
that
called
space.
that's called
Not
plugins, right?
Oh,
And so-
got it.
The theory and our thing that we go back and forth with a lot is, digital audio is a sample of real audio, right? It's ones and zeros.
Recreation
It's a
of-
file. It's right, and the more you process it, right, the more you put it through more algorithmic equations to create, because every plugin is just a bunch of algorithms
On top
and
of it to modify.
modify
Modifying this
it.
digital representation.
Although, yes, you can change it and manipulate it, I personally feel, and a lot of people will maybe also feel, that the more you add to that,
I agree.
the less. No, you don't.
No.
You lose.
Wait.
You lose quality. There's degradation in the quality of the audio, and like less is more. Just the theory that less is more.
But-
all right? So
I think I.
so.
Wait,
so,
you
no,
disagree with that?
well, it
or-
just
No, not fully. No, I agree, and that's what I was trying to say.
So
what I was going to say.
So maybe where I'll
But there's
use
a-
one plugin and just take larger, broader strokes, just to put it in layman's terms.
Yeah.
I'll find George with 2 or 3 plugins, and each one is doing like little micro things, and I'm like, all together as a collective,
Like,
just that could be done with one plugin, and now we're using more things, and it's just
Oh.
so it's just
But
as an example.
It's also
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
so I'm
But then you
used
also
to
have some
using a
cool-
lot of digital, so I guess I've spoiled myself in that sense where I'm constant, like, I'm like, okay,
Taking advantage
whether I
of-
can
it
use
doesn't
3 or
matter
now,
because
it
I can add as many plugins as I want.
But it's better to, I think you're right. I think it's better to do, if you can accomplish the same
wait,
thing
was
with
that
less.
on tape? What did he say?
Sometimes
He
it's
filmed it,
it's
whatever.
He filmed it,
most
right?
often more often than not it's better to accomplish that with less. But with what you can accomplish these days in the digital world, it's like often I'll find myself like, hey, why not? I'm gonna throw an extra little plugin just to get this done or to get this little sound. But I think the one thing we can agree on that we usually do is that there's a tasteful amount of that you got to use. If you're gonna go down that rabbit hole of plugins or crafting a sound further or whatever, it's like, okay, there's a tasteful amount that you've got to be
But
doing.
it also provides a lot of cool things where he'll find and be like, oh, look at this cool plugin I found, where I'm not necessarily even looking for it. And I'm like, that is pretty cool.
yeah,
Some
let me
crazy
add it.
reverb or delay.
say that
and
again.
it's
Why
like,
don't you should say that one again.
you find a lot. No, he finds a lot of cool
Amen.
things that I wouldn't, necessarily be looking for, because to me, 50, 60 years of classic music that will never not be good was made on the little EQ, the compressor, and the limiter, and you don't need 50 different versions of it to do it if you know the tool and the path that you want to get to with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's gonna lead to my next question, which is
It's not the Indian, it's the arrow. It's the Indian.
So the Slightly Stoopid sound,
Yes.
or if we were talking about Usher, right? Or
Yes.
did I read correctly that you worked on Amy Winehouse's Back to Black album?
I assisted the mixing engineer on that.
Okay.
Yes.
Less plugins or more plugins?
No, less plugins.
Less plugins.
But $1 million analog console with room full of gear being used to mix.
Oh.
So
And also a style of music that kind of comes from the more limited or less
sure.
processed
organic,
world,
more
which
organic.
It fits.
Yeah.
That stuff's incredible. The sound like.
But that you would agree that the newer sound is using more
Distortion.
yeah.
No,
More,
plug-
not more plugins, more layeredness. But sometimes
it depends on the music you're listening to, and it depends on the
that's true.
genre. And
What genre did you grow up on?
The first CD I ever owned was a Boyz II Men record.
Fuck yes! Hell yes!
The pre-Philly,
The first
Motown
one,
Philly
the
stuff.
Motown Philly one.
red and whitish
Yeah,
colors.
and then the second, and then at the same time I had like an Elvis CD because my dad bought me a CD player and gave me an Elvis CD. So I had Elvis and Boyz II Men.
How about you?
I have to say this. I don't think we've ever talked about this, but the first concert I ever went to that like my pops took me to was a Boyz II Men concert.
Get outta
Which is so
here.
random, but because he was like,
awesome.
yeah, so random. Either that or Willie Chirino. I can't.
First concert I ever went to was Jimmy Buffett, but I was 2 months old, so I don't know if that counts.
sounds
My
epic.
parents took me there.
You know what? That's funny. I think Boyz II Men played on my first concert as well.
Trippy.
It was like on a festival.
There
All
you
that
go.
had like a music and more. They did it for like 2 years and then didn't do it again. But it was like 98 Degrees and
There you
Boyz
go.
II Men.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
and
are from the same generation.
We
That's
exactly. You
interesting.
started talking. I was like, Boyz II Men was your first
That was
record?
the loudest crowd I've ever heard at any concert that I've ever been to from the stage. Standing on the stage was listening to I was doing a concert and Boyz II Men was performing, and the crowd singing back.
All My
Dope.
Life.
Yeah,
No,
those
that's
are
Casey and Dillon.
classics.
The crowd singing back.
That's
the
like
end of the road.
crying,
I mean, it's
sing-along
like
music.
you couldn't even hear the music on the stage anymore. The crowd was so loud. It was in Australia, and it was funny to hear.
You
them.
put that on at any party and everybody will sing along.
Yeah.
You know?
That's crazy. The first CD I bought, which is another little synchronization, was an Inner Circle CD. That first CD I bought with my money
That's
as a kid.
crazy.
Yeah, because it was at the end of
What
one of
a
the
crazy
CD
small
shelves
world.
at like Peaches or Specs or whatever. And I'm listening to this. I'm like, just checking CDs. I knew I was gonna buy a CD with my money. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna buy something. And I just start
That's
listening to this
crazy.
listening station, and I was like, this is cool. This is like the stuff that they play when my dad goes to have a drink at the beach. when we go to the beach and we walk to like the Sonesta or whatever, the freaking resort, and he gets a drink and they're playing that at the pool deck. I was like, oh, I like this. This is the stuff at the pool deck.
And
you
how
know?
old were you?
Man, I must have been 8 or 9. I don't know.
Wow.
Or 10. I don't know.
After Boyz II Men and I think both those CDs. I don't know if I
Or
bought
10.
the Boyz II
I would
Men,
say
but that was one of the
10.
first ones. The first one I went and bought money, I think, with was Green Day's Dookie album.
That
Oh my
I
God,
think it was
that
like
was
one of the
my
first albums I
album.
ever
An
like.
The
incredible
yellow
album.
CD?
The one with the little
With all
explosion.
the art and the
Oh,
explosion,
no.
yeah.
Well, yeah. So maybe mine was not.
But then
Dookie.
I got into like their first 2 albums, and like that's when I started getting into music and playing
Sick.
drums and like learning Green Day songs and Nirvana, and then
Epic.
Nirvana obviously.
That's
and,
so
like,
funny. Nimrod was my first.
Nimrod, yeah.
my
Oh, that's the
first
yellow
CD
one.
ever
Yeah,
was
dope. That's a
Green
good one
Day.
too.
Love Green Day.
I love Green Day. My cousin gifted me, so I had cassette tapes. Those were the first things that I was getting, and I was a jit. I was like, I don't know. This is right
think I
before
had
the
it
Inner
on
Circle
cassette.
thing.
I
But my
think it was a
cousin gave me a
cassette
Green
tape.
Day Dookie tape
I think it
from
was-
Peru, where everything's like
Wow.
printed in Spanish. It was probably a bootleg too. Like he
For
gave me that, and well, it was either a Cypress Hill tape or I can't remember, but yeah, that's like around the time I'm getting into the. I don't know. Somewhere between 8 and 10 years old. This is
As an
happening.
elder millennial back in our day.
Dookie's incredible, and it's like just guitar, bass, and
Green Day's
vocals and
incredible.
drums.
I
you
don't.
know?
I kind of don't understand. I mean, they were just a really good band and they blew up. And I mean, sell out or not, like we all listened to were like our
but what's
first CD,
what's
you
selling
know?
out about? I mean, they evolve. It's evolution. You know, you can't just
I
make
feel like
garage
anytime
punk
you get
albums.
to a level where people can't control you, they just call you a sellout.
Right.
You
I think
know?
there's a lot of like
I mean,
subjectiveness to
The,
that.
just
you
that
till
goes
they
back
fucking
to
leave.
though, you're either making music to sit around the fire and play for your friends, or you're doing it for a living. And if you're doing it for a living, you need to sell a product and a commodity, and that's the songs. And it's
Yeah.
like, what's the best thing than to not sell out everything? You sell out all
Sell
your
out
product.
fucking
If
everything.
the
I
shelves,
think
if
as
the
long
shelves
as you're
are
still
empty and
doing
you've
it
sold
and you
out all
love
your
it,
product, then you're
Yeah,
doing something
you're
good.
doing something
If
right.
someone, what do they say? If those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind, like. If people
like that.
truly believe in what you are and who you are, and you say, I'm going to do this, and it's different from what I've done before, people that really believe in you are going to be like, that's awesome, you tried something new. Whether they like it or not, they should.
Right.
Or people can be, oh, you're a sellout.
I don't think it's selling out unless you're
Right.
not liking it or unless you're genuinely not into. Like that's to
Yeah.
me, selling out is if you're doing something that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As simply
But
as
artists evolve all the time, and you have, you can't make the same music that you did the first time forever.
Have you ever dealt with like an incredibly difficult personality, and how do you navigate like somebody coming in to work with you or mix something and them thinking that maybe they know best and that they know what they want, but they're just not letting you kind of take the lead?
I mean, yes, I've definitely worked with a bunch of different people. Busta Rhymes comes to mind first and foremost because he's very passionate person, and you have to just realize that it's passion where the energy comes from, and it's not, he's not angry, he's not mad, he's not yelling, he's just, I want to do this now, let's do, and it's like,
Epic.
and you're just like, okay, let's go, and then after it's done, he's like, oh man, that was great, yeah, cool, and it's like, all right, cool, it was good,
Yeah.
But if you mistake that passion for he's being a dick or this or that, then you can like change the energy and be on the wrong path.
yeah, as an
and
engineer,
throw
you
yourself
kind of got to
out.
be like, you have to turn off your emotions a lot, especially I don't know, when I was first just tracking whoever I can get in the room with, and I'm like trying to make a name and see if I can do this for a living. There's a lot you just tell yourself like, all right, don't be that guy, like don't be. So it's like kind of like train yourself to like.
But I
shut
definitely
your
had people like
emotions off.
fuck with me. Like one of the, I don't know if it was Jim Jones. I think it was Jim Jones, one of the Dipset dudes.
Oh wow.
And like, so you're recording and then they start a verse and then they'd be like, oh, do it again. And it's like, so you stop and you go, and then he was like, oh, do it again. And then like 2 or 3 times, and I do it again. And I was like, is he doing it? Like, is he trying to fuck with me? To see if I like mess
Snap.
up?
Oh,
no, not mess
interesting.
up. So, but I like my Pro Tools game was good. And I was like, oh, you want to go again?
James's
motherfucker?
Pro
You
Tools
wanna go
game
again?
is pretty
You wanna go
fire.
again?
Yeah, I must
and like,
say.
and he kept on doing it. Do it again. I was like, you want to go? And I'm thinking in my head, come on, bro, you want to go again? Let's go.
And that's another thing, like where we started working. You started in Miami, right? Those
Of
were your
course.
first gigs. The type of recording that we're doing there is a bit more hype. I guess it's not as chill as when we're working on music here. No one's like rushing you through, but in the Miami world and recording all this like pop music where people are paying for time at these big studios, you're supposed to be like bam, bam,
Well, it's
bam,
also
bam,
too
bam.
when you're working with a certain caliber of person that just they want what they want when they want it, whether they're right or not. I mean,
They fly. They're flying through
Yeah.
making a song. It's
Yeah,
incredible.
Yeah.
So you got to be at that.
Yeah, I had
And people, I actually had one time where the computer, like, it's a computer, so every once in a while it's
You gotta
gonna
reboot.
and it's just doing something, and then the producer was in the room, and it was a big producer, and there was a bunch of artists, and it was kind of like he had invited a bunch of people over, and they were all drinking, and he was like putting on his show, like,
Yeah.
oh, come watch the show, I'm producing, and the computer started tripping, and he started yelling at me. He's like, what the fuck? He started saying some
fuck.
words that
Oh,
weren't nice, and I was at one point I just like smacked the keyboard, and I was like, dude,
It's not working.
it's not me, it's the computer,
But yeah, to answer your question, I think it's like at least in my experience, there's always some level of on that spectrum of somebody being tough or whatever. Even if they're a little bit tough, there's always some level of that in a lot of music that at least I've worked on, and you kind of got to just be able to like keep the goal in mind and not let things that can, play with emotions or anything like that get in the way, because
But you do have to
you're both
creatively
trying to do something together that is going to be something you both love, and we're kind of like entering this on the same page.
Musicians are so much different than actors, man. Like, even sound guys with like voiceovers or audio stuff, like I have noticed that people that work in production and sound are some of the most calm, just like, yeah, dude, whatever kind of personalities. And I'm sure it's so freeing for any artist working with you guys. I just don't know if like on the inside sometimes you're like, I want to fucking kill this motherfucker, just to be like. But it's I see what you mean. Like, you kind of have to just like be in the business of just like, we're all here to get a job done. So like, whatever, if we're gonna be particular.
Well, there's two things I want to say. One, you're being entrusted in some of the most intimate, like an artist is put this passionate, intimate thing that who knows, it comes from their heart, comes from their soul, and now they're sharing it. You might be the first person that they're singing it in front of. So like, you have to be able to create that sense of comfortability where, we're here together. Like Jordan was saying, we're here to achieve, the best, whatever that is. But at the same time, like you had said before, sometimes you just got to let them go down a path a little bit, even though like that's not going to work. You can't just always be no.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to try that? Sure, try that. Let's see how it goes. And you're like, 15, 20 minutes. Oh, okay, cool. Let's try to redirect back to like whatever it is. You got to let people try things.
Yeah, and sometimes get somewhere where you're like, wow,
Yeah, sometimes you find something that's crazy, and sometimes,
Often, a lot of times it doesn't.
I think experimentation is probably how you get most of those.
Glowing.
Sorry, my crotch is glowing. Wow, we're really making waves today.
The lofted softball that you threw up in the air, I choose not to hit.
Well, thank you for telling me that. How long was that on for? I missed that. I was saying experimentation, and like that's where you get some of like those moments where you're like, fuck, had we not explored or gone down that road, would we have not created that sound? I think I read, I'm going to just like keep going really quick before I lose. I thought that Come Around was like an impromptu late night sesh or something.
Come Around was a session we did in New York with Jerry Wonder.
Yeah, it was like a collaborative, right? But I saw something about a late night impromptu set, or somebody added something that was like last minute.
I don't know
not.
particularly
It was
with that
planned
record. I mean, it was a session that we went to New York and worked with a producer named Jerry Wonder, who's one of the incredible bass players and musicians, and does all the stuff for the Fugees, and produced records for Shakira and Justin Bieber, and I think we just he had a little jam, and we all started jamming and working on that.
I love that.
Excuse me. It might have been a late night collaboration, but I don't.
Oh yeah, maybe I read it wrong.
Yeah, I don't. But I mean, that's one of the greatest songs too that I think we've done. One of my favorites for sure, and it's just like
one of my favorite
collaboration.
Songs, yeah.
My wife Angela's actually, her voice is on the little sample
really?
on the
Shout
hook.
out to Angela.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
who worked
that.
on a couple records on that album.
Yeah.
That's the first album I worked on too.
Yeah, she did
Meanwhile, Back
Mona
to Life.
June also, and One Bright Day.
Have you dealt with artists that have a lot of performance anxiety? Have you ever like tried to help somebody work through that?
In the studio.
In the studio.
Yeah, like recording, getting people to like really give the performance that you need them to give. I've never really dealt with anyone that didn't want to like put on a show necessarily.
But that goes back to like the vulnerability that you're finding in the studio with somebody when you're working one-on-one with them. It's like you really see where they're not so confident, or where they seem very confident publicly. You're really finding, okay, this is how this works, or this is what they think when they're doing this or whatever. It's hand in hand with the same thing, is kind of providing that environment where they feel comfortable with you. If it's in the studio world, being able to like face that, encounter that, like with somebody that they feel super comfortable with, or that allows them to kind of like quote unquote mess up or whatever you want to call it.
Do you guys make beats together?
Yeah, we
make
do a
music
lot of
together
stuff
all the time.
together.
Fuck yeah. Who starts?
I think it's different every time. It's every song is different. There's some songs that James is around, let's say Miles, for when they first start cooking it up, or I'll be around Miles or Kyle when this one starts, or we'll all be together when one starts.
Someone might just play
It all
something on the
depends.
drums, or Kyle, or someone might come with something. And
We
just
did one.
kinda-
Me and Kyle did one in a hotel room in Vegas while they were doing Rise Up, and we started in a hotel room on a very super inexpensive little digital setup on my laptop, which was
Or
I
the back
love
of
what
the
we
bus.
got. But then we brought it to James and the rest of the band in Texas at Sonic Ranch. So it's a big hodgepodge of things going on. It's like, at least in the Stupid world,
We've done a bunch on the back of the tour bus.
the back of the tour bus
We have a
too.
song. We have a song. Working title was "Back of the Bus" for a while.
And we recorded drums to a song
On the stage.
on stage during sound check in Idaho
Yeah.
for one of the newer songs. And then we took that to the back of the bus, and then we took that to the studio.
That's awesome. So, if you were to start, do you start on the drums or do you start with like the computer and just?
It
fuck
just
around?
depends. Yeah, lots
Yeah.
of times it will start with drums or an idea, but lots of times it will start with a guitar riff or even a vocal idea. Or...
It's interesting that things kind of there's no rules and it can start anywhere, but it's funny how a lot of things do start with drums, right?
It's the
Like
foundation. It's the
recording.
rhythm.
Yeah.
It's core.
It's the rhythmic foundation of the track, and like just the way the drummer is leaning or swinging or playing can completely depict or change the way it feels. So sometimes we'll start with something and then change it afterwards, or sometimes it'll be like, let's go it and do it like this, and everything builds off of that, Sometimes we'll do it one way and then completely change it and do it another way,
So what do you have on this computer right here? Anything cool? Would
On
it
this
fuck you
one?
up- Would it fuck you up if I fucked up all those buttons right there?
No, it won't
Not
fuck
really.
us up.
I don't think
No?
we've been in here the last week.
No,
No,
or
you
you're
could-
not like
She's gonna
OCD,
do it,
like,
though.
I want
No.
to.
I'm like, wait, I was joking.
So bad.
No, because it just
My
changes.
intrusive
it-
thoughts are
it
gonna
just
win. I just
changes
wanna,
from-
like-
Go ahead. You can just go like that, yeah. Because depending on what we're doing,
He's gonna come in
from-
here and be like, "Who the fuck?"
no,
Fucked
these
with
are all
my
just
setup.
Literally be us.
these are all just preamps. So this is just depending on whatever we're recording, whether it's the kick drum for the drums over there or a vocal. Like it changes,
I got
Yesterday
it.
we had DJ Z Trip here, so I was using two of these to
Fucking Z Trip.
to
So
listen
okay,
to stuff and.
I'm gonna lead into my next question. So when you had Z Trip perform with Slightly Stoopid on the main stage at Closer, how do you incorporate his shit into your shit?
Two cables and a mixing board and DI
That's
box.
it?
Yeah, we just it's just like if a guest guitar player wanted to sit in, or if a guest keyboard or whatever, it's just two more channels. He just sends a stereo image of what he's doing.
You
know
just
what
get
I
it
mean?
right in, and even better with someone like Z Trip when he puts his rig in and he starts getting his sounds going. He's got such a good ear that he's kind of like mixing himself in really nice
Yeah,
already.
he
like
does,
he's
yeah.
got his level nice, and then James or somebody
He has an
is
amazing
around
ear.
to make sure
like,
that it's
watching
not
him live
distorting.
mix is insane. I'm
He's
obsessed
amazing.
with Z
Yeah,
Trip.
Z Trip. Shout out to
He
Z Trip. He's a
knows I'm
badass.
obsessed with him. Like
Z-Trip.
he did a EDC mix when COVID and all the shutdowns happened. He did like the Rave-a-thon
Dope.
or whatever, and like it was 40 minutes, and I was like, dude, this kid is like he's just
He's a
insane.
party, man. He's a
and
fucking...
no set has ever been the same. He's just
sick.
alive. Watching him live at Closer was insane.
Gotta get him on the show. No, no
that was-
meds. No more meds. Why no more meds?
Not off my meds.
Off my meds.
Off
Yeah.
my
Why no
meds.
more off the meds?
It's kind of it's a little bit
Yeah,
of
yeah.
an homage to my dad. I have ADHD from my father, and anytime you'd be talking to my dad and he wasn't paying attention, he'd be like, "Sorry, I'm off my meds." And so in trying to find a podcast name, because everybody has a podcast now and everybody has like taken up every kind of possible human name. Off my meds was not taken. I was like, that's what we're going with, and everybody's like, what's it called? And
Well,
so I'm
I'm
like,
pretty
well, at least
sure
you're
we're-
asking twice. So
I'm pretty sure we're all here because we all have some form of ADHD or
which is
something.
why I wanted something that name it like speaks. Like there's no niche. I think I think the common denominator with everybody that I've interviewed is ADHD to some extent, right? Like creative people that are intuitive but like musically inclined or performatively inclined and not. How did you both do in school? I'll let James go first.
I passed. I graduated. I mean, certain things I did really good, certain things I didn't. I failed Spanish every time I tried to take it, which was weird. Being from Miami, I never figured that one out. But
that is it's like a crucial thing to have to know.
Some things were good. Some things, I was a good student, but I didn't. I'm not like a sit and study and draw in between the lines type.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely had a more outgoing, creative personality where I just,
Can't sit in your chair.
I could sit now.
Well,
now my older
as
age.
an adult, it kind of goes away a little bit.
But yeah, I used to sit in school and play drums on the desk, and the
Yeah.
teacher would be like, "What are you doing?" And
Oh,
I'm just
yeah, I
like,
got in trouble.
"Nothing."
I had my things that I was better than others at, just
Yeah.
because I was more interested in it, or we maybe figured out how to get the answers from the period before us or whatever. I think there was a combination of a lot of that going on, but I wasn't too bad, but.
Trying to get the notes from the class before.
Yeah.
So you didn't catch up. It's
Oh,
funny.
man.
I just saw a video on that where it was like, shit, I didn't get the notes. And it's like, all right, we have a quiz. And you're like, I can't move on.
For us, it was
because I
did you get the PowerPoint? Do you have the PowerPoint? We had like a whole. It was bad, dude. This high school I went to was like a prep school, a Jesuit prep school, where it was like, they was like, they got so much work on top of you in tests and quizzes and essays. It was supposed to make you break. So, I think part of it was they're like seeing if we could even, create, which we did. We created this like cheat co-op ring and sharing of knowledge and answers and things, and I still to this day swear that my school was trying to get us to go down that route and become
the World Wide
like,
Web before there was a World Wide Web.
conniving freaking.
I love that though. Like a
Interesting.
little co-op for learning.
We would get the finals or the midterms from the year before for the teacher that didn't change the tests or whatever, and all sorts of stuff. It was bad.
Awesome.
What?
No, I said that's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
It's not the proudest. I don't know.
I feel like I struggled to just sit in my chair. I always got my shit done first and then was like, why do I have to continue to wait for everybody else,
I'm ready to go.
I got a lot of, or like tapping or like I just didn't listen. We don't like rules. You know what I mean?
Well, I was diagnosed with ADD or ADHD
Mm-hmm.
as a kid. My mom was like, she's like holistic, homeopathic remedies. She's an astrologist, so she was like, "No, you don't." She's
No,
like,
you
"No,
don't.
you don't.
You don't have any
You're
of that.
normal."
That's funny.
I'm like,
I
okay.
feel like astrology and kind of like neurodivergence kind of go hand in hand a little bit. There's a little bit of
I
connectedness
could see that
to the world.
100%.
That's funny. Yeah, I was on meds like in school, and then high school, my mom said like I got good grades, but I had no friends. So like Ritalin, fucked me up a little bit. And then I went off and did all natural supplements, kind of that holistic route until I had to study to go to law school. And that's when I got back on meds. And so now I'm weaning off of it, hence off my meds. Well, James Wisner, George Spitz, thank you guys for bringing me to your studio and showing me around and teaching me about plugins. I'm gonna go back and do some research and be able to spit your game now that I've gotten some wealth of knowledge.
Do your homework and make music.
Do your homework. Don't do drugs.
That's what I meant. Like, be a good kid. Be a
Yeah.
good kid.
Listen
And if you
to
like
your mom and
making
dad.
music, make that fucking music. Don't let anybody stop you.
Yeah, I got the juice like a snow cone. Ice in my veins and a cold flow. I'm getting cash overseas by the boatload. You wanna ride my wave? That's a no-go.
I love you. I'll call you guys in a second.
So this is just like the rehearsal space that I put together for them when they took over this side of the warehouse, where we can, perform and rehearse for a show, but also record for the studio. All the lines go up into the roof.
It's George Spitz, everybody. I did read something that said that like the way you mix records is very similar. You try to keep it as close to a live recording as possible.
Mixing just depicts on the song, but I think recording, especially with these guys, we kind of keep it a certain organic level to it, where it's something that will translate to them being able to perform it. But some songs are, you mix it just based on the elements that it presents.
Oh, I love it.
So it's just like the control room for the main room that we were in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And here's just all the gear that we use to capture all the preamps basically to plug the mics into.
I just wanna. JK, I'm not gonna do it.
Don't touch all the knobs.
Don't touch the knobs.
And it's just like a little tech work area, or guitar tech 9. Not tech 9. Jesus, cut that out.
XLRs
Ty.
that you would need in the world.
Edit that out. Ty Zamora. No,
This is where the
I said the
magic
wrong
happens.
guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like MTV Cribs.
Right. We got Cristal Light in the fridge. We don't drink Cristal. We drink Cristal Light.
How many times do you use these chords? Or are
All
those
the-
just
all
the
the time.
extras?
Yeah, all the time.
Oh. Don't worry, it won't touch.
So you built this out?
We just, by design, as far as like the, running all the snakes to capture all the mics, and then we connected it up through the ceiling so it connects to that room, so you can record or listen back simultaneously. So it's kind of like
Nice.
multiple function.
This is awesome.
And this was carpet till like a couple months ago.
Yeah, we just changed the floor in here actually, put some wood.
That's what I was gonna ask. No carpet?
There was before, but now it's just the rugs.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it used to be like just
What, do you
a,
prefer carpet?
not
For
so,
sound? No.
not so much for the floor. I mean, the walls are treated, so
Yeah.
that helps with the sound. But the carpet on the floor is just easier to clean this, and then we can put the rugs down and stuff. So
Too many people spilling drinks and shit.
yeah,
Too many weed burns in the carpet.
bong water.
Bong water.
I prefer it for recording.
But that's with the rugs. You can control it, so you can have a little bit of both. You can
Holy
have,
crap! This is amazing.
yeah, it's fun.
What a cool place to work.
It's
It's
fun.
like it's not bad. Oh, I see a set list. Oh, damn.
Oh yeah, you're getting
I am. I know.
VIP access.
It's okay. By the time this is released, it'll be
It'll
old
be
news-
long
old
done.
news.
It'll be somebody will already have a copy of it signed. I did not. That's a cool. I didn't know. But I see it. I see it.
Yeah, it's kind of like the hangout. This is the man
I
cave.
love it.
We grill. We got the smoker. We'll cook often.
Uncle Don. I met him at Closer, and I was like, bro, your energy is like on another level.
Yeah.
Like he's just, I don't know.
Sweet.
And Jafada, rest in peace,
I was
Jafada.
high as fuck, and I was just like, holy shit, man.
Man, we want to thank you all for coming out tonight. We got